It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
All right. Now, this next question is from, this one is from Matt. And he said, what should we be doing with extra cash? He says, I'm already doing the employer match in Roth IRA. I know you said invest after tax, like a regular brokerage on yesterday's video, but I want a little more detail on what, ... And I think what Matt is asking about is specific investment advice. And, it's really difficult for us to ever give specific investment advice because in our opinion, no two financial situations are exactly alike. So if I were to just blanket say, hey, go buy this, it may or may not be what makes the most sense for you. Now, we do have sort of this overall philosophy that when you're just starting out on your wealth building journey, when you're just building your army of dollar bills, there are some great resources out there that you can use that are called target retirement index funds, where all you have to do is answer two questions. When do I think I'm going to need the money? And how much money can I save? If you can answer those two questions, a target retirement index is perfect because it's going to peg the allocation of the fund to the date that you think you're going to need those dollars. So while you're young, it's going to be more aggressive, more stocks and less bonds. And then as you move through time and get closer to that date, it's going to get more and more conservative. There is nothing wrong with when you're doing your employer-sponsored 401k or your Roth IRA or your taxable brokerage account. There's nothing wrong with just letting all that money flow into a target retirement fund until it reaches a critical mass that a more sophisticated strategy makes sense.
Yeah, and I would start because I want to give somebody, so if they watch this, they'd be able to start doing their own research really quickly to hit the ground running. The biggest providers in these index target retirement funds that Bo just mentioned is your Charles Schwab's, your Fidelity Investments, and your Vanguard. Those are the biggest players. They have no commissions. They're dirt cheap on the internal expenses. That money gets to work. That's a good place to start doing your own due diligence. I think the big thing, because we all try to make things way more complicated than they should be, focus on the habit of building wealth. There will be plenty of time. It just happens naturally. As you build success and wealth, complexity will come your way, and that's when you can get into, once you get over 500, 600,000 of total investable assets, you can get into worry about asset allocation. You can get into charitable giving of appreciated holdings, the harvest, loss harvesting, all that stuff. But the biggest thing we're trying to do is get you to a critical mass of actually building wealth, because that way, when the market goes up 10%, 10% on $600,000 is $60,000. That's probably replacing months worth of income, if not years, and living expenses. Whereas 10% when you have $6,000 saved, and now we're talking about $600, I don't know if it's worth all the capital you're expending just so you can work on maximizing $600.
One little nugget I will throw out there too, Matt. Let's suppose you are later on in your wealth building journey, and let's suppose your assets have hit a critical mass, and you are at that point where you're thinking about, okay, well, what should I be investing in? One of the things you want to think about when you're dollar cost averaging is one of the benefits of dollar cost averaging is taking advantage of volatility, right? So when you're putting your money to work, like say in that after-tax account, you probably want to think about investing those dollars or letting them go into the risk side of your portfolio, whatever that may look like, whether that's large cap index funds or international or small cap or whatever your allocation looks like. You kind of want a dollar cost average into risk on assets. I see a lot of folks, they say, I'm in a 60-40 portfolio. And so my monthly contributions, I'm just going to have 60% go to this and 40% go to this. That may not be the most efficient way to do that because, again, you want your assets going into the risk on volatile assets. And then if you're periodically rebalancing, you can get back to target in the future. Just kind of a way to think about allocating your total portfolio.
You teased him on a little extra complexity.
I wanted to give him a little nugget.
It's all right.
I want to give him a little nugget.